could you come up here and tell us exactly, for those of you that don't know Al, I had always said Ilzaliturri. But then again, somebody says, no, it's Ilzaliturri. And I'm learning from the sheet that I'm holding, it was in a rush. 2 names were left off earlier. Fred Moby's name. We didn't introduce your Bud Roche, our singing companion last night. And so, how is this? Is this spelled correctly out?
Good evening, fellas. All right, good evening, brothers. Let's start with trying to learn to pronounce my name, okay? All right.
I know how to say it.
That's my son, okay? We're either, wherever we go to work, or wherever we're at, and somebody asks us what our name is, they're always looking down at the name and not at my mouth. So we all look at my mouth, because there's going to be a test at the next reunion. Okay, I'm going to say it once, twice, and then if you can pronounce it, please raise your hand and we'll see what you sound like. All right, it's Ilzaliturri. Who can pronounce it besides myself? Margaret? Barbara?
Okay, I'll give it a shot. All right.
Barbara and I, we became acquainted yesterday.
Yeah, we became best friends last night. Ilzaliturri.
Very, very
wow.
Well, you look at the mouth. Ilzaliturri.
Remember, next reunion, you're all going to be tested if you come.
Now I just have to learn how to spell it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny war story that happened over out of Grottaglia. We were going to Ploesti. How many veterans remember Ploesti?
Wow.
That was one of our scariest missions we could ever experience. The first time we went over, it was an all-out mission. Anything that could fly. Do you remember this? Anything that could fly was going to go over Ploesti and bomb. It was a big refinery that the Germans really protected. I was told at one time that there were 800 anti-aircraft guns on the bottom, shooting up at whoever flew through. We were scheduled to fly at a certain time. Those that went in ahead of us, right at the beginning, got some flack. By the time that my squadron, 716th, went through, we were probably an hour later, and all we saw was a big dark cloud, and we knew exactly where we were going. It was all the explosions from those shells that had been shot. Okay, as we were approaching the target, we flew in a formation of 4 bombers together, and we were on the coffin corner, the outside corner. Okay, my bomber. And then there were probably about 15, like the gentleman said before, flying together, but we were on the outer corner. And as we had approaching the target, we were on the target run at that time, there was a tremendous explosion. And 3 of our planes that were on our right went down. The explosion blew us out about 100 yards or so, and we were out there by ourselves, out of formation. So the pilot, whose name was Sullivan, I don't know if any of you pilots remember him or not, but anyway, he broke silence and called the commanding officer in the front plane. He says, we've been blown out of the formation, what do we do now? We were fairly green flyers at that time. And the commander said, get your plane under mine immediately. So we went over the target, and we came out with about 300 holes, but we were still flying underneath the lead plane. And what happened is, as we passed the target and dropped our bombs and we're heading back home, we were still under the commander's plane. We crossed the Adriatic, got back to the airfield, and the commander radioed the tower and says, I'd like to land. He says, well, Commander, he says, it's okay. He says, but why don't you get that B-24 out from under you first? So he broke silence again. He says, Sullivan, get your butt out from under me. I've had a lot of humor in the service also, along with a lot of scary moments. My first mission, they assigned me with a crew that had been there for some time. I went over in February of 1944. But anyway, they needed to kind of give us experience, so they broke up our crew and put us on different crews that had lots of combat experience. Anyway, we went over the Toulon subplants. You know, any of you veterans remember that? It was in and out, okay? And I was thinking, well, that sounds pretty good. You know, we're going to go in and out, so we probably won't get tormented too bad. But anyway, what happened is we went in and we went out and we were hit again. And one of the crew members got hurt. We got a piece of shrapnel in him. Fortunately, we had a fireman from New York who knew first aid and everything. And he jumped on this, as soon as we got away from the target, he immediately started giving first aid to this crew member that had been hit pretty bad. He saved his life. Okay, that was my first experience. I thought, whoa, Lordy. Okay, I'll tell you one more story. When I was inducted, I went to Fort McArthur in California, where they took all the inductees. And again, this is my name story. Okay. Anyway, they gave us all the shots preparatory to becoming service people, Air Corps flyers and stuff like that. And about the third day after all the shots and all that, they called us out onto the field. And there must have been about 800 new men entering into the services. And they were assigning all of us to where we would be sent to, you know, either the tank corps, the infantry, or whatever. Anyway, I was looking around. This is an 18-year-old now, just out of high school. I was looking around, and the group was starting to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then all of a sudden, I remembered he went past the eyes. I wonder what happened, you know. Anyway, about an hour later, after they made all the assignments, I was out there on the field all by myself with the sergeant out there who was making the assignments. So he motioned to me. He says, "Come on up front." And he says, "I didn't call you out," he said, "because I couldn't pronounce it." The story doesn't end there. And I thought, Air Corps? What's the Air Corps? I'm a youngster. Come on. So I went back to the barracks, and all the guys, some were crying because they got assigned to infantry. Others went to the tank corps and all that. And I walked in. They said, "Izzy, where were you assigned?" I said, "Something like the Air Corps." "Oh, you lucky guy. Oh, man, are you ever lucky?" And I said, "Why?" He said, "You'll have warm beds after your flights and everything else." Anyway, to make the story shorter so somebody else can talk, got back and the statistics came out that the Air Corps lost more men than the infantry during World War II. Can you believe that?
Yes.
We lost a lot more men than the infantry did. And they said, "Oh, you lucky guy." It's nice talking to you.